Well, we all knew it was only a matter of time before Unity backtracked on this insane plan of theirs, but it's not as much of a retraction as I thought it was going to be, and honestly seems way more fair, and I definitely get that impression from a lot of the indie developers that have responded to this so far. But let's go ahead and go over a lot of the details that have come out. And this is just a summary. We'll have a link to the full open letter in the description and the Q&A section, so you can get more details for yourself if you care to read them. But on the whole, this is from a community post by Mark Witten, the lead at Unity Create. And according to him, well, first of all, he just outright says, "I'm sorry." It's just a big apology, which, yeah, is kind of necessary. You need to apologize because you just killed any type of trust the developers had in you. And maybe this is a step back. At least it doesn't hurt any current games in production. But going forward, I'm not sure how willing people will be to use Unity. But again, we'll run down these changes and these policies, and we can decide for ourselves then. Basically, the Unity personal plan will remain free, and no runtime fee for games are built in on Unity Personal. So it remains how it's always going to be. In addition, the cap is increasing from $100,000 to $200,000, and they're removing the requirement made to show the Made with Unity splash screen. So yeah, it has been such an embarrassment that they're removing the fact that basically they're allowing you to choose to not show that you used Unity to make this game. If you're like, I don't want to do that, it's just the brand has been hurt that much. They know people are just that much against them, and it is kind of hilarious in that way. It's just like, oh God, we know you don't want to be associated with us, so you don't have to say that you made your game using us. It's fine. Don't worry about it. That said, going into more policy type stuff, no game with less than $1 million in a trailing 12-month revenue will be subject to the fee. So if you make less than $1 million, you're not going to get this fee, even if you take part in their new stuff. Because basically the runtime fee policy is only going to be applied starting with the next LTS version of Unity, which is not going to even ship until 2024, and any version beyond that. So games that are currently have already been shipped or are being worked on are not included unless they upgrade to that new Unity version. So yeah, if you don't upgrade to the latest Unity, you're fine. You're not going to get subject to the fee. And even then, if you do use Unity in the new version and your game makes less than $1 million, you're not going to be subject to the fee. Now, what about the fee itself? Well, any game subject to the runtime fee will get the ability to choose whether to do a 2.5% revenue share or a calculated amount based on the number of new people engaging with the game each month. Both are going to be self-reported from the developers, and the developers will actually be able to be billed with the lesser amount. So it's sort of a way to handle it. So let's say you'll be billed this much with the 2.5%, but based on the number of people engaging, you'll actually be paying less. They'll allow you to go with the number of people engaging and pay less as far as the fee. So that's the basic rundown of how this is all going to work. It is definitely a retraction. It is not the doom and gloom that it would seem to be at first, where every game ever was going to be subject to this and all of a sudden have to pay all this money and just really shoot a lot of things in the foot as far as how it all works and just cause this panic. Instead, it's more measured, it makes more sense, it's not even applying until 2024 and only if you use the latest version. And honestly, it seems way, way better. Now, the question is, will people still want to use Unity? I'm not a developer. I'm not sure how easy to use Unity is. I know there are other services out there. I believe Godot is the name of the other one, and that's gotten a big push from the developers of Terraria to help keep it free and make sure this type of thing that happened with Unity doesn't happen with them. But again, this seems to be a pretty decent retraction while still pushing forward the idea of making more revenue from what Unity wants. Maybe not great, but it at least makes sense and doesn't seem overly punishing or able to be taken advantage of by less than reputable people trying to punish certain devs for whatever reason. It's still going to be taken care of, and it just seems way more level-headed. I appreciate that. I think if this was what came out initially, be like, that's a little weird, but you know what? Fine. People need to make money. It's akin to, I guess, the PS Plus price being increased. Granted, there's no real service being upgraded here in any way, from what I can tell, at least, but they're trying to make a little extra money. Okay, maybe yes, maybe no. Hard to say whether it's actually worth it. But fortunately, Mark Whitten is willing to sit down and talk with people, and will actually be taking part in a fireside chat that starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific today. And they'll be taking questions and really showing everything has to do. There's even a Q&A section, which again, I'll post in the description so you can take a closer look if you care to see. If you're a budding game developer thinking about using Unity or scared away from Unity, maybe this will give you a little bit of peace of mind, especially if you've already started using Unity. This might be like, okay, I can just continue with what I have now and not worry about it. And hopefully this new version isn't one of those like, got to auto update, you're not going to work with it. You'll be able to just stay with your old version and not upgrade if you don't want. So yeah, honestly, level-headed, makes sense. Hopefully John Riccitiello learns a lesson here. He won't, because this man is just terrible at his job. But the thing is, the big takeaway, trust was killed. And it's no more apparent than the fact that you can remove the Made in Unity splash screen. We've all seen that splash screen so much. We know when a game's made in Unity, thanks to that. And now we won't know, because the brand of Unity is that tarnished. Will it come back? Hard to say. I honestly don't know. I'm not a developer, as I said. We'll have to see what other developers think if they decide to use it or move to Godot. I don't know how easy it is to use one over the other, but there it is, broken down. So yeah, that is the case. This is probably the end of the whole thing. I can't imagine anything coming up that will change any of this, but yeah, good to see it finally finished off. Maybe not the complete victory we're hoping for, but of enough of a retraction that people in the middle of making games already, or have already released games, can breathe a sigh of relief that they're not going to get charged this insane amount that was being floated around before. So I'm curious what all of you think. Will you forgive Unity? Are they dead to you? What do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments. And of course, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for even more news, the big news only, and just give our own takes on what's all happening. And of course, if you want to support us at our Patreon, it's at patreon.com/gvgaming. You can enjoy more of our stuff there, and along with special perks, as well as all the other videos we have in the pipeline. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.